It's a little-known locale where Native Americans literally altered the earth. Now it's receiving recognition the world over. With Conor Knighton, we travel to sacred ground.
From the Grand Canyon to Machu Picchu. From the Great Barrier Reef to the Great Wall of China, many of the world's best-known sites are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The elite list is comprised of nearly 1,200 properties, with new additions voted on each year.
Congratulations to the United States of America.
But at last year's committee meeting, held in Saudi Arabia, a site in Ohio was added to the list that many Americans may not be as familiar with.
The Hopewell ceremonial earthworks are a series of 8 gigantic earthworks built by what we call the ancient indigenous Hopewell culture between about AD 1 and 400.
So this is all happening long before bulldozers. How are they actually moving the earth?
With the simplest kinds of tools you could imagine. Pointed sticks, clamshell hose, and baskets.
Archaeologist Brad Lepper was one of several Ohioans who worked on the UNESCO submission, hoping that an international stamp of approval might lead to a more domestic appreciation for these ancient earthworks scattered throughout central Ohio.
I grew up just a few hours away in West Virginia. I'd never heard of these. Does that surprise you?
No, I mean, I know people who've grown up in different parts of Ohio, Columbus, that have never heard of these and have never been to them. They've been neglected. And I think now that they're World Heritage Sites, I think we can start overcoming that stigma of just being piles of dirt.
That's a dismissive criticism Lepper has heard before.
The response that I use is the Newark earthworks are piles of dirt in the same way that the Parthenon is a pile of rocks.
The earthworks near Newark, Ohio, are the largest group of earthen enclosures in the world. There's a great circle and an octagon, which could easily hold 4 Roman colosseums. They're believed to have been utilized by groups who traveled here from several regions. Why Ohio? Well,
we don't know. I mean, it's like having Mecca and Jerusalem, but not having the Quran and the Bible to fill in those details.
John Lau is the director of the Newark Earthworks Center and is a citizen of the Pekagan Band of Potawatomi Indians.
I see this as a large powwow ground. You know, that's what it looks like to me.
Scholars believe there was also a likely spiritual connection.
I think, frankly, that's probably the most persuasive way that you're going to get a whole bunch of people to work on a project like this, is to talk about the spiritual power of doing this.
A shared sense of belief.
Exactly.
Certain points in the octagon line up precisely with an 18.6-year lunar cycle known as a lunar standstill, in which the moon appears to pause in one place before heading in the opposite direction. It demonstrates an impressive knowledge of astronomy and architecture.
During the 19th century, there were huge debates about whether Indians could have even built these places, that we weren't sophisticated enough, smart enough, hardworking enough to do these things. And so there became all sorts of theories, aliens, Phoenicians, lost tribe of Israel.
People were so in disbelief that it could have been Native Americans that aliens were the next option?
Right.
For the past century, the Octagon Earthworks site has been leased by the Mound Builders Country Club. The area was turned into a golf course.
I usually do not even come up here because it just makes me feel excluded. It's a site that's meant for everybody. And to have a private country club stacked on top of it is depressing to me.
A Newark golf course seated on top of an indigenous American earthwork is one step closer to being evicted.
A state Supreme Court ruling in December 2022 has paved the way for the Ohio History Connection to buy out the value of the lease. Several of the earthworks, including some burial mounds, are protected as part of Hopewell Culture National Historical Park. The UNESCO recognition doesn't change anything legally, but it might inspire more visitation.
Now people will have to accept that, okay, somebody thinks they're really important. Why?
Visitors to the earthworks may not get the same picture postcard experience they might at a Stonehenge or Versailles, but for Brad Lepper, that's part of the allure.
Here, there's no single place you can stand to capture it all. You have to immerse yourself in it and walk through it to experience the grandeur.